Welcome, guys, to Monday's Masterclass. Today's Masterclass is going to be led by Kristen Francis, Triple Your Business with the Science of Success. And she's just brought this amazing flavor to the group that has really resonated with so many because, as you probably know, your success has basically mimicked the path of which your self-development has gone, right? Like your business is not gonna outpace your self-development by a giant amount, and at least not for a sustainable amount of time in the long term. They're going to track together. So the beauty of what Kristen has really brought is she studies success, she studies the science of success, and how you, my friends, Zig Ziglar said it, I think, you are the lid, or who was it, John Maxwell? Somebody is John Maxwell, I think, the law of the lid. So how do you raise it? And Kristen, if you're there, I'd love for you to take over, and welcome to the masterclass.
I'm here. Thank you. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Way to show up, guys. I've heard never miss a Monday and it's a holiday, and here you all are, which I'm grateful for because I was just skiing at my cabin and I raced home to be here with you guys. So thank you for showing up for yourselves and for the group. And I'm really excited to bring this to you. If you were at EXPCon in Miami, you got the sampler version of this, and today we're here for the full-length feature film. For those of you that I haven't met yet, I'm Kristen Francis. I'm from the DC metro area. I've been in real estate a couple of minutes, 21 years or so. And I've learned a few things. I've done all the wrong things humanly possible. And so I have brought here to you today all of the things that I have found that work and all of the things that don't work and how to fix it. So if you're going to ride with me, let me go ahead and share my screen. Here we are. All right, can we see? Let me make sure I'm in presentation mode. Boom. All right, everybody can see it?
Yep.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Okay, so as I said, 21 years will teach you a number of things. And I just tripped through life, essentially. Here's a couple of versions of me, and pictures tell a story with no words, right? The woman on the left, very successful, went from solo agent to a small team. This was in 2017. And the woman in the middle, more like the one you see on camera today, is a team leader with over $60 million production. So I tripled my business. The woman on the left was very successful on paper and yet very unhappy. And I think a lot of you can probably resonate with climbing to the top of the mountain, surveying the manor and saying, I'm still unhappy. All of the money and all of the success in the world isn't fulfilling me. And I was constantly chasing other people who outproduced me. A lot of you on this call have outproduced me, and it made me feel really yucky inside that I couldn't seem to get there. I was constantly shaming myself rather than celebrating the successes. And the team that I was leading was also really unhappy. And turns out we were just misaligned in values. And I got to learn the really painful way what misalignment looks like. And when you're trying to lead a team who has different values than you do, you'll find out it may be in an explosion of mutiny, like I did. So what I found was that the people that I was leading had never been in real estate or led a team before. And they really valued the visibility of perfection. And that is what the woman on the left mirrored. We call her Senator Kristin because I've got my pearls, I've got my blonde bob, I've got my office outfit, and I am trying to stuff myself in a box that I really don't belong in because that's not truly me. But I tried because in DC, that is the picture of success. And so I have faked it my whole life, coming from nothing and not having a college degree and not having any money and coming from a traumatic background. I was just constantly in this phase of imposter syndrome, trying to be somebody that I wasn't. And it got uncomfortable enough that the people on my team that valued perfection, once I dyed my hair purple one year, they were so horrified that 4 months later, they created an undercover mutiny. They took half my team, they stole my clients, they stole my IP, and they ran off. That did not feel good. I'm sure that's surprising that it didn't feel great. But what it left me with was a choice. I went back to the remaining team members in the business that I had, and I looked under the hood and I said, oh, dear goodness, they have made a disaster out of this. And I wasn't inspecting what I expected. And so they weren't running my team very well. And I had to rebuild the whole thing. I had to rebuild all of the systems. I had to rebuild the people. And that was the greatest gift I didn't know I was going to be given. I had the chance then to rebuild the way that was really, truly authentic to me. And if you haven't noticed, authenticity is one of my top values. Adventure is number one. Authenticity is number two. Adventure will absolutely get me out of bed, put 2 feet on the floor, and do whatever it is that you ask me if there's adventure involved. And I'm going to do it with authenticity, and that feels great. And it's not necessarily perfect. So the difference between the $20 million producer and the $60 million producer was absolutely mindset. And I had the opportunity to get to know myself. That kicked off a long journey. I was already starting it, but it was 9 years I have been working on myself and really getting to understand the way that I work, what drives me, what's working, what's not working, and how to build things more authentically. And the results spoke for themselves. So not only was there a physical transformation, there was an internal transformation that just reflected on the outside. And so now I get to change my hair every 6 weeks and be whoever I want to be and wear somebody else's art. The mindset that's really important here, and I think you probably are all familiar with the be, do, have model, but what we don't get right is the order of priority. And when we get them backwards, that's when we start to show symptoms. So the victim is going to say, well, as soon as I have what they have, then I can do what I need to do and then I can be successful. Or if you're like me, and a lot of trauma survivors fall into this category, you're just going to work your way out. So if I just do more, then I'll have what I need to be successful or to be happy. And we get those out of order most often. And we don't spend a lot of time in the be, do, have category. Who do I need to be to do what I need to do to have what I want? And so if we spend a lot more time in the who do I need to be category, we're going to find much different results. And we're going to get into that. But what a lot of you are here for today is some tactical strategies. Where the inventory comes in when we spend enough time with yourself to figure out truly what drives you and maybe what you're not so great at. And there's this project called the Insecurity Project, and I can send you the link. You can fill out this questionnaire and it will tell you where in your life your insecurities are sabotaging the most important categories in your life. And so these are my actual results. At that time, when I took the survey, my insecurities, my imposter syndrome, I'm not good enough and I'm going to be found out one of these days, was impacting my work, my health, and my relationships. Also, if you look at my headshot, you'll see a physical transformation on the outside. I lost a ton of weight. And I was carrying all that around while I was trying to be somebody I really wasn't. And the relationships that I had at the time made me feel emotionally hostage. And every day I went to bed and I would wake up at 3:00 in the morning in this shame spiral for everything that I'd ever done wrong in my life and everything I was going to do wrong, because the people that were on my team, I was listening to their narrative and through a different lens we'll get into later. So what I did when I went to rebuild my team is I said, well, what is it that made me successful as a solo agent? Because the only reason I started a team was because I had more business than I could handle. And these people had come up to me and said, well, you look like you're successful. I'm going to work for you. So I created this business planning calendar, and this is a very rudimentary tool. And sometimes we just have to go back to the basics. And I like to see it all out on paper. So what I did is I planned all 52 weeks of the year. I took all of my systems that I had in my head, the ones that actually did exist on paper and that my operations team had created, and I just laid it all out. I said, okay, what is it that I do with my database? And if you've heard of Do the Database 2 or 36 Touch or any of these systems from historical brokerages, I brought those onto this business planning calendar and I just put them out. And I said, okay, if I have to host 150 open houses a year, where am I going to do that? Which week am I going to do that in? When I do that, how many doors do I have to knock? How many circle prospecting tasks do I have? If I'm doing FSBOs, how many calls do I have to make? So I took all of the things that I had to do in the year and I broke it down by month and then I broke it down by week so that when I sat down at the table, I didn't have to think about it anymore. I knew exactly what I needed to do that week and I just put it on my calendar and I made sure that it happened. I had all of my client events out there, all of the fundraisers. I even had the topics for the database calls. So if I was calling my database, I was never going to say, "Hi, do you want to buy a house?" I was going to say, "Hey, we're running a half marathon and we've got a fundraiser," or "Hey, we just did a mission trip and because of you, this is the impact you had," or something relevant to activities on the team and not just about, "Hi, do you want to buy a house?" So I love this business planning calendar. From here, I was able to automate all of the systems using technology. And if you're interested in what technology I use, I'll share some of it. And the rest of the answer is whatever CRM you're using, that's the right one as long as you're using it. One of the things that's most important to me as a human and my authenticity is to surprise and delight. I adore the look on someone's face when they get something that's thoughtful and unexpected. And so I made sure that we had what's called a client journey map. As the team leader, it's very difficult for me to teach someone how to be me. And not everybody wants to have rainbow hair, which I don't understand, but to each their own. And though I can't teach them how to be me, I can ensure that our clients have consistent treatment and consistent experience, consistent education through any one of the agents on my team. So we make sure that there's built-in surprises and touches here. As you'll see, this is the buyer journey map. So when they sign the buyer agency agreement, we have these blue light reading glasses that are customized and they're in a box with tissue paper and a handwritten note and the client gets them and we say, congratulations, welcome to the family. Here's some blue light reading glasses. We don't want you to hurt your eyes online looking through all of these listings. Can't wait to meet you. Then they will get. Can't wait to meet you. We got some feedback there. If you don't have your microphone muted, if you could mute it, there's some feedback. Manually mute some people. Okay. When we first meet them, we bring them an uncut branded key that says Kristen Francis team. And we say, we cannot wait to find out which door this key opens. And then once they have the house selected, then we'll go and cut the key and bring it back to them at closing. There's some automated touches in there to make sure that my relationship with the client is still sticky, since I may not meet them until sometime well after closing. They'll get an email with a custom video of each of the person that's going to touch them in the transaction. So the transaction coordinator, the buyer agent or the listing agent, and me at the end wearing Mickey ears that says, my job is to make sure that my team has delivered the true Disney experience. And then they'll get a Spotify playlist sometime through the transaction when it gets sort of quiet when we've done our inspection and we haven't spoken in a while, and we'll say, "I miss you. I made you a mixtape," and it's a Spotify playlist of each of our team members' favorite songs. It's just very, very thoughtful, small touch, and it's also free. And then one of my other favorites is right at the end when they're working with their lender and they're documenting their blood type and selling their firstborn to actually get the loan approved. We send a 5-minute headspace meditation that says, "We know it's really crazy right now. Take a 5-minute timeout. Here's a meditation." Again, just small, thoughtful touches. And if you guys have any questions along the way, feel free to put them in the chat and I'll get to them as best I can. One of the things that amplifies what I can do as a human is these automated touches. And I actually have my VA send these, but every year I create a custom branded happy birthday message. My favorite one is the cake smash. I did, in fact, get a cake and have I said my husband, "Go get the cheapest cake you can find from the grocery store." And I smashed it in my face to get these photos and I send it out, "Have a smashing birthday." And I'll send it in Facebook Messenger to cut through the noise so I'm not lost in that like deluge of happy birthday messages on somebody's Facebook profile. And if their birthday falls on a weekend, then we'll send it the following Monday and say, "So sorry for the belated wishes. I had to find just the right cake to smash." And that actually gets much more powerful return because it's the day after. They're also not lost in birthday activities. This is some of the playlist, the Spotify playlist, the KF tunes, and one of the handwritten notes that they get with the gifts. One of my other favorite technology tools is Sly Broadcast. Anybody here use Sly Broadcast or Sly Dial? Raise your hand. Not that many. Okay. So it's a really powerful tool, and I don't have time to call hundreds of thousands of people for any reason in my workday, but I want to make sure that they feel the personal touch. So I will record very personal messages for birthdays, home anniversaries, other events that are automated throughout the client process. And it will drop into their voicemail as if I had called, but their phone never rings. So they'll get the voicemail from me, and if I'll invite them to call me back. And if they do, I'll have a conversation with them. If not, I'll go back through my list as time allows.
I got my hair done.
Oh, I'm going to mute everybody again. Okay. So these are the voicemails that we have ready to go. And you'll see that they are titled, if it's a friend of mine, I don't want them to get a voicemail that's like, hi, it's Kristen Francis from the Kristen Francis team. I want it to be very personal. Likewise, I don't want a client I don't know very well to be like, hey girl, happy birthday. That's not appropriate. So we have labeled them accordingly. And my executive success partner thinks it's really funny to label them FU every time I show this slide. So that means follow up. It doesn't mean anything else. Okay. You may not know, and you may have heard of similar strategies, but for client referrals, we really like to reward the effort. So even if it doesn't close, we reward the effort for a friend or a client making a referral to us, and we will send them a $10 Amazon gift card at the beginning of the month, every month for 6 months for each referral that they send us. And Amazon allows you to customize a video that goes with the digital delivery of the gift card. So it's a very custom experience. And much like the video I referenced earlier, it is just me talking about how much we appreciate receiving the referral and explaining the program. And each month is a different video. So they get 6 videos. And as it goes toward the end, it'll say,
hey there. Thank you so much.
Can you hear that?
For your referral. This is the first of 6 treats for you.
You guys want to see the rest?
Kristen coming at you again, and it's month number 3. So now's a really good time to think about anyone else you might want to refer to us to get.
Good enough.
Hi, I'm Tali and Brandy. We just wanted to give Kristen a break from the videos this month and thank you so much for the referrals that you sent us.
Thank you so much for all the referrals. We really appreciate it.
Bye.
Very simple, very easy, and making people very happy. So I took probably a year and a half, and I traveled around the country teaching systems of real estate and teaching people how to 7th level out of their business as I had done in 2020. And most people don't 7th level out at that kind of production, but I was following what made me happy. And what I realized made me happy was travel and adventure. And I was no longer happy in the day-to-day business and the transaction world. And so I handed that to my team, and I trained each one of them to handle it exactly as I would have, but in their own voice. And it turned out to be a much happier experience for everyone. So as I'm traveling around the world, teaching all of these already successful agents how to really tighten it up, automate a lot of their systems, put in some of these surprise and delights to really maximize the experience in the database, I found a lot of people who were really unhappy and also very successful on paper, but the golden handcuffs are a real thing. And I found a lot of people that had hit burnout and resentment, and their priorities were not in alignment with their values. They didn't even know what their values were. And I thought, well, what is the point of teaching people all of these systems if the leader is still broken? So I started sharing what I had experienced in my own journey to help the leaders come more into a mind, body, spirit alignment and more into the fulfillment category so they could be better leaders, thus tripling their own production using the systems that I had to teach. So if you guys are interested, I'm going to share some nuggets in the work that I have been doing for the last 9 years that has transformed many a real estate leader and unbound them from what weighed them down and kept them stuck. And this is where the Uncommon Alchemist path was born. That is the brand that I chose to deliver all of the mind, body, spirit stuff that I get to bring you guys once a month and that I teach all over the world now. I get to be a global speaker, and that's really exciting. One of the studies I saw Sean Aker present, and if you guys don't know him, he is a Harvard positive psychology professor, and he wrote the book, The Happiness Advantage, and he's one of the most spectacular speakers I've ever seen. I was not able to take notes because he spoke so fast and was so funny, I couldn't even keep up. But he has a lot of nuggets, and one of these is a Princeton study that shows that if you stand in front of a mountain alone, it will appear 30% higher than it actually is. And if you stand there with a friend, it will appear 30% lower than it is. And the psychology behind community and how important it is and how much easier things can be in community, and that's why we're all here in Fast Forward Movement, is to be together, to learn from one another, and the accountability. Just being together sometimes eases the mind. And I think we can all agree that entrepreneurship can be a very, very lonely place. The chronic pitfalls of a scarcity mindset, they have physical ramifications and a 23% drop in productivity. I don't know about you, but I don't have time for that. I need 27 hours in a day as it is, so I can't afford for stress to bring me down. And how many times do you listen to the negative self-talk that I talked about earlier, that I was succumbing to imposter syndrome and a shame spiral and the 3 a.m. anxiety monster. And that was absolutely keeping me down. And it made me question every decision that I made. Now, on the flip side, optimists will outperform pessimists by 80%. They will outsell them by 37%. And if you have a gratitude practice, it will increase your optimism by 20% after 21, and some will say 66 days because of a habit. But every 21 days, you're compounding your optimism factor by 20% just by having a gratitude practice. And that looks like waking up in the morning and finding 3 things that you're grateful for. And it doesn't matter if it's like your bed sheets, your dog, lights, electricity, whatever. It doesn't matter. You're just training your brain to look for something positive. The performance here, even doctors will diagnose 19% faster if they are optimistic. And this is where my real world experience came in, because if you recall, I said at the top of the call, I don't have a college degree. And by the time I had the money to go back to college, I was already so entrenched in my career that I didn't have time to go back, and it didn't make sense. But I had outperformed everyone in every job I'd ever had. I'd carved my own path and I'd outperformed everyone. And it's because I'm a Pollyanna. I see the best in everything, or at least I should say I used to be a Pollyanna. Now I'm just incredibly grateful. And I'm going to share some of these techniques with you. The most important message that I can give you today, if you haven't already heard, is that you must take an inventory of yourself and really, truly get to know yourself if you want to see happiness on the other side. Because otherwise, we're going to fall into this pattern of reactiveness to other people's wishes, to other people's questions, to other people's desires. And in order to really do that, we have to know ourselves to lead ourselves. Otherwise, like I said, we're going to get stuck in this loop of negative self-talk and behavior that's not helpful. And we're creating synapses and neural pathways that will keep us stuck there. And if we really get to know ourselves and what's not serving us or how our mind is working, then we're able to change our patterns and change our outcomes. Now, here's where the reticular activating system comes in. And I'm going to drop a big truth nugget here in just a minute, so make sure you've got a pen handy. The reticular activating system is essentially your brain's filter. It's constantly scanning for danger or information. Before the age of 7, every experience you have for the first time, your brain registers as absolute fact. So for example, my brother, when I was like 6, told me that I couldn't sing. And my brain has understood that as fact for the last 40 years, to the point that I will have a full-blown panic attack if I have to sing in front of even one person. Imagine how many times happy birthday brought a panic attack in my world, because my brain learned that that was absolute fact. Well, it's not. Once we turn 7 in the age of reason, it's really hard to rewire anything that is in that database, essentially. We're learning, hey, when we touch that stove, it's hot. We don't have to do it a second time. It's already hard-coded in there that the stove is hot. Where else does that show up in our lives when we've had the first experience of something? So we're being driven by this reticular activating system. And this is where it's going to tell you a lot about your own brain and how you're getting in your own way and self-sabotage because of what is stored in your database. So I've created 3 unworthiness archetypes. This comes from years of study and all of the psychological resources that we have. You guys, I'm sure a lot of you have seen a therapist. You've probably done cognitive behavioral therapy, or you've heard of the ACE test or the DSM-5 or any of these psychological tools that the medical community uses. And what I have found is that we all are trauma survivors. Doesn't matter if it's capital T or lowercase t trauma. Some trauma is just more visible than others. But our brain and our subconscious registers trauma the same in our nervous system, no matter how it was received. And I would wager 100% of people on this call have experienced some kind of trauma. And you may not think like, oh, I had a great childhood or I've had a great life. And your subconscious essentially disagrees. That's the human experience. And I'll go into that a little bit more in just a moment. Let me explain the archetypes. The first one is, that we all have this core message of unworthiness, this core wound that I am unworthy of love, attention, or protection. Now, the earnest seeker is the one looking for love. The invisible one is unworthy of attention, and the lone survivor is unworthy of protection. Now, let me explain. When your reticular activating system has this hard-coded message of unworthiness, and this one for the earnest seeker is that I am unworthy of love. It doesn't mean that you're actually unlovable or that you think that, but that in order to receive love, it is conditional or that it could be taken away, that you have to earn it based on messages that you received likely in your younger years, likely before the age of 7. And not necessarily through malice, but maybe just, our parents doing the best they can do, or a friend or a loved one had absolutely no idea and was well-intended, but your subconscious received a message rooted in fact that was misunderstood. So I'll let you, I'm not going to read these slides to you, but what's important in these archetypes, if you have this filter on your reticular activating system, absolutely everything you do in life is viewed through that. So you're looking at your clients, your spouse, your children, your work performance, every conversation you show up to, the people that you lead. You are operating behind this lens of unworthiness. So if you think about how this might apply to you, and how you might allow boundaries to slide, or maybe you don't speak up for yourself, or maybe you're hesitant in leadership. If any one of these descriptions resonate with you, that might be an area that you can change. And this is where the self-sabotage comes in. So if you identify with one of these, then we will have another conversation. So the earnest seeker says, I have to earn love. So I'm going to be the best version of myself. I'm always going to be on my best behavior. I need you to tell me that everything is okay. And if I just stay perfect, you won't leave. And the same can happen in work. You're just constantly over-serving and you're looking for praise, and apathy is like the stroke of death to you. And in leadership, you overextend yourself and you internalize a lot of things. If you can identify with that, raise your hand. The invisible one. I'm not worthy of attention. I have been taught to be a wallflower or to make myself small or to not be heard because it's unsafe. For some reason, in your history, you may have received a message that it is unsafe to have attention. And therefore, the way that you show up in these 3 categories is with patterns that don't serve you, that are not going to deliver the outcome that you truly want, but the way that you're showing up is to avoid an outcome that is undesirable based on fear, based on you trying to overcompensate for the safety you didn't get as the earlier version of yourself. And finally, and I think a lot of us, especially in capital T trauma, end up in this lone survivor category that I am unworthy of protection. Therefore, you have to show up and be the hero for yourself and everyone else. You can only depend on yourself. You keep yourself at a distance from other people to keep yourself from being hurt. And you do it all yourself. It might be very difficult to delegate to someone else because you have to keep a bubble of protection around you and control your own environment, if not also the environment of others. And the lone survivor is a very, very popular archetype in our community. And we all have, some of each category, but one tends to be the one that really gets in the way of you breaking through that glass ceiling to your next superpower. And the reason I say that the unworthiness wound is leading to a lack of safety, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. Your nervous system is constantly scanning for safety, and our vagus nerve is the director of that. And it goes from the back of our head all the way down into our body and our intestines, and it touches basically everything on the way down. So if we have thoughts and lenses in our brain sending thought patterns that have to go to every single cell in our body through every single organ, and it's essentially damaged up top, it's going to hit everything on the way down. And that's when you're going to see physical stress start to manifest. You're going to start seeing symptoms of stress, anxiety, trauma, et cetera. And it's a whole other masterclass on how that shows up in your body. But the reason this is important is that if you can tell your nervous system that you are in fact safe, you will start responding very differently to settings that are really important, especially in sales, but also in relationships. And at the end of the day, we're in the relationship business, so it all boils down to the relationships, the relationship with ourselves being the most important. We can, in fact, recode all of the things that we just went over when your nervous system feels that it is safe and you get into a theta state. You can rewire all of those things. So the vagus nerve and the biohack to calm it, and I can teach you a couple of different strategies to make that happen in real time so that you can be your best self in a listing appointment or when you're leading your team or in a disagreement. The regulation of that parasympathetic nervous system to engage it is so impactful. There is a study done by a doctor on the early onset Parkinson's community. And it turns out there's a personality archetype for early onset Parkinson's patients, that they are highly intelligent with somewhat of a hero complex, and they believe that they're the only ones that can do all of these things. And so they're hyper competent and they do it all. What happens is they are never engaging their parasympathetic nervous system, and instead their entire body operates from cortisol and adrenaline, which are very useful if you're running from a saber-toothed tiger, but they are toxic in excessive amounts. So the personality traits of these folks that have been running on cortisol and adrenaline for so long that it deteriorated their body physically and their mind mentally. And so this doctor who created this study has a 100% success rate in treating patients who have not yet taken the medicine for early onset Parkinson's, just by working with some of these tools I'm going to show you in just a moment. Any questions so far as I'm cruising through some scientific stuff? You'll have to actually raise your hand because I can only see like 4 of you. All right, so the good news is, as I said, you actually can not just rewire the synapses. When the synapses in our brains will expand and contract to the tune that it's required to. But when they're actually created, we're creating neural pathways between the synapses. It's like ski tracks. Like we're paving a path on white powdered snow, and I say that because I just came from skiing. And the next person that comes behind is likely going to just take those same tracks. And that's what we do. We create one pathway one time. We're not going to go carve a new path. We're going to follow the same pathway each time. And that's how we get stuck in these cycles that don't serve us. So we have to rewire them. And though we're hard-coded up until the age of 7 with those original experiences, if we get our brain into a theta state, we can create new pathways far more easily. So the trauma is wiring the negative loop, and then we get ourselves into a theta state, which is right before sleep or right upon waking or when you're in a meditative state, or there's other methodologies that can get you into theta state. My favorite is breath work. And if you were here with us for last month's Mind, Body, Spirit, we did a full 90-minute breath work class. And that's like 20 years of therapy without saying a word. That gets you into a theta state where your subconscious can then come forward. We're turning off what's called the critical faculty that's right here in the prefrontal cortex. That's where your ego lives. That's where that narrator in your head lives. That narrator is not you. That narrator is the security guard for your brain and your nervous system that is scanning to say, danger, danger, danger. Once we can turn off the critical faculty and expose our subconscious, it becomes malleable and we can reprint, rewire, rewrite history. When I do hypnotherapy, I will take people back through this theta state to the first experience where they ever had this, where they might have received this core message of unworthiness, and replay the image as if it had a different ending. And what happens is your subconscious then tracks that ending was different, and your nervous system falls into a state of safety. Now, your brain, of course, remembers that this in fact did happen. So it's not like it's changing your memory. What is just changing your nervous system. And so when we rewire things like that, we can keep the superpower that we have attained by some of our capital T and lowercase t trauma that really defines our personality, those things that make us like high achievers and hyper competent or really kind and extraordinary service people. We can keep those superpowers and ditch the shadow that comes with it that might look like imposter syndrome or having to earn love or those things that make us overcompensate for the safety that we didn't experience. So when we're looking forward, what is it that we want to see in our lives? What do we want to see in our business? How do we want to show up for ourselves and other people? How are we going to increase our business? In what category do we want to do that? We start manifesting. Manifesting is just neuroscience with better branding. And when I say I'm going to manifest a Porsche in my driveway, no, that's a woo-woo. What is scientific, however, is using that reticular activating system to hard code what it is we are scanning for and assist our brain in finding solutions for us. So if we start manifesting something, what we're actually saying is, hey, here's the end result that I am experiencing. And we just stop right there. Our brain will fill in the blanks of the how. All we need to do is state the what, and our brain will start scanning for the how and fill in the blanks. Now, what's most important here when we're manifesting something is to evoke the actual physical feeling in our body that we're going to have when we receive that thing. So let's say your goal was to sell 100 million in real estate. If you can get yourself into a theta state, let's go into meditation. Let's say, if you can do 30 seconds, fine. If you can do 20 minutes, great. If you could do an hour, even better. You visualize that moment when you realize that you've sold your 100 million in real estate and how you are physically going to feel. When we have an emotion in our body, that is our body producing chemicals in response. So I talked about the cortisol and the adrenaline. Those serotonin, dopamine also are the flip side of that create emotions in a particular area of your body. So if you think about how you feel when your body's flooded with serotonin and you are in absolute bliss, evoke that feeling in your body and hold on to it as you are visualizing the outcome that you're looking for. You're getting the award for top producer, $100 million achiever. If you can hold on to that feeling for 60 seconds, you have now trained your brain to go find exactly what it is that you need to sell $100 million in real estate. And that might be helping you to become the person that you need to be to do that. It might be a book that you need to read. It might be a system that you need to adopt. It might be a conversation that you need to have. Largely in life, we are one conversation away from total success. So what if we started to approach every day understanding that our nervous system is actually our greatest business tool? If we show up truly present and authentic in our business, we will be able to manifest anything that we want. We'll also find the fulfillment. We will be able to direct ourselves to do anything and everything that we need to do. And so when I start my morning, I have a gratitude practice and a meditation practice and journaling, and I have figured out exactly what I need to do to keep my mind, body, and spirit in alignment. Because when we divorce those systems and one of them gets out of whack, that's when we start to see symptoms. So if you feel a little off or you feel stressed or anxious, if you can sit with yourself for a few minutes and ask yourself some questions, where am I? Why do I feel this way? Whose voice am I listening to? What is it that I want? You'll be able to unpack that a little bit further and get to the point where you're not only in control of your nervous system and your vagus nerve, but also proactive in reaching for what you need in business. And I love to say that success isn't what you get, it is who you become, because the person that I have become on this journey is the one that I get to speak with every day when I am worried about a decision that I have made or I'm going to make. And I am so confident now in that voice that I listen to that is truly mine, and that is my higher self, and that is not anyone else's voice. That is not a voice of negativity. Anytime you are connected to your intuition, that voice is going to be a positive one. So if you hear any messages in your inner narrator that are negative, that is not you. That is not your higher self. That is not your intuition. That is fear and anxiety resulting from a lack of safety that is probably from one of those 3 archetypes that I mentioned earlier. And if you think I am unworthy of love, attention, or protection, it's time to get into a theta state, soothe your nervous system, and give it the love, attention, and protection that it needed at that time, and rewire it. So this is the team that I lead today from a very powerful, you can see I'm in my power stance here. And if you look at previous photos of my team, you'll see the transformation here. And I teach all of these ladies on the daily how to walk this walk. I'm just a few steps ahead. So in this, and you can get these slides, there is a custom GPT prompt that I created, which is right here. This is called Uncommon Blocks. And if you reach out, I will send the actual link to you. The custom GPT will ask you a series of questions about your history and the way that you show up in life. And it will tell you which one of the archetypes you are in. And then you can actually bring that into your own GPT, whatever you use. And now that it will know you, it will know your archetype, it'll know your superpower and your shadow side, and it can help you recraft business tools and conversations and relationship advice. And it's just a really cool filter to put onto your own AI, because now it knows you. It's going to help you know yourself better. It's going to help you circumvent some of those self-sabotaging behaviors that you might have. And I also would encourage you to explore some of the modalities that will get you into a theta state to help you rewire. And that is something that I bring to you guys also on the monthly Mind, Body, Spirit call. So make sure you show up for those, and I'm happy to bring those modalities to you. But these are things that you can do more often than once a month. There's a QR code if you want some more specific information. Scan that and reach out to me, and I will give you whatever it is that you want. I have a lot of tools for the theta state. I have a lot of SOPs for the real estate systems that we went through up at the top of the call. And I'm just really excited to share all of it with you. And my hard work and my hard-won efforts hopefully are a hack for you guys, so you don't have to trip and fall the way that I did. And I'm going to stop sharing now and see if anybody has questions. I see there's a lot in the chat. I couldn't see that while I was presenting. So let me see if I can go through. And if anybody has questions, now is the time to ask. Linda, can I get that? I'm not sure which thing you were talking about, so you'll have to let me know specifically. And also the QR code, if you guys want specific things, you can reach out.
Kristen, I have a question if you want. So I love your team. I love the size. Can you share a little bit what you guys are doing to generate business? Obviously, systems are not as important to me. We use Follow Boss, Fly Lopo, same as Cal and Dan. But what is the main focus of your business? Is it your SOI? Do you use any lead gen sources? What are some of the effective ones you have used? Anything you can share regarding that?
Yeah. So thank you for asking that question. And I don't think there's a right or a wrong way to do business. I think the best way to do business is to be authentically as you, like you are the you can be, right? So I don't like Zillow leads, and I don't like that because I don't like feeling like I have to sell myself. I really enjoy the personal connection. So I lean into my database. I get agent referrals. I get client referrals. I get friend referrals. So I am tripling down on all the things that have worked for me. So the relationships with agents across the country, that's one of the reasons I teach these classes, so you guys know my face, so you know to send me clients in DC, Maryland, and Virginia, right? I am out there in the community, and I do a lot of charity work. So everything that we do, if it's a client event or a party, we're also attaching some charitable component so that our community knows that they can trust us, that we're out there doing good in the world. And it also gives us talking points for our clients and a reason to reach back out to them. And we can show them, because they worked with us, this is the good we were able to do on their behalf in the community. When we're calling through our database, it's the same thing. So I tell my team, we're going to give you the first 2 lead gen levers, whether it's open houses or golden letters or what have you. And the third one is always going to be to go out and make more friends. Go be the you can be. However you're doing that, just make sure you're doing it with purpose. And if your mommy workout group is where you make friends, like it was for me, great. Just make sure you're putting the tools to the test and making sure that you have a goal for the number of conversations and outreach that you have within those communities. I see lots of other questions. Will, your hand is up.
Yes. Hi. This was fantastic. Thank you very much. Couple things. One thing, well, the first thing was the Amazon thing that you did with the $10 card that hits them 6 times a year. How do you set that up?
So you go into settings in Amazon in the gift card, and there's one of the options is a video, and then you'll see a custom video. So you can upload any video you want to go within that digital card. It's like the cover. And then you can also schedule send. So my executive success partner will take all of the referrals that we've gotten in that month, and she will put their email addresses in the pile. And on the first of the month for 6 months, it will automatically go. So it's a set it and forget it automation.
Oh, that's awesome. That I've never seen that before. So that was really cool. So that if you go inside of Amazon under the gift cards area, you can figure that out. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yep.
Cool. And you're doing 6 installments, right? Instead of one $60 gift card?
Correct. It's $10 every month for 6 months for each referral. So we'll say, hey, refer us another one, you'll get 6 more. And then in one of the videos, we'll say, hey, are you guys stockpiling it? Or have you bought a bunch of little things for your house? We'd love to know how you're spending your Amazon gift cards.
Nice. Any chance you can share the GPT link with us?
Yes. So it's a built-in link in the slides. So if you scan the QR code, I will send the actual link back.
I scanned the QR code, but it's not leading it to any. It went to your LinkedIn.
Yeah, you'll have to email me. Let me put my email in the chat right here for all of you, and we will send it out. The monthly sessions, Tammy, in the Fast Forward Movement group, there's a master calendar, and you'll see it's the first Thursday of each month, I think at noon. But it's on the calendar, and Ella can give that to you as well. Lots of other questions. I can't see who's got their hand up. Linda?
Can I ask?
Yep.
What are you doing with Mind Valley? Are you one of the coaches on Mind Valley, or what?
I'm not. I would love to. They can call me and ask. I would love to, but I actually participate in, I love the Mind Valley subscription. So if you guys are interested, I have a tech stack. I have a psychology stack. I have a supplement stack. I'm an Ayurvedic coach. So all of the things that I've figured out for my own mind, body, spirit health, I'll share with you guys. Just let me know which one you want. But for the psychology stack, I do nighttime. I do a mind magnet 15-minute episode, and then all night with New Calm is what I listen to. So it's like positive affirmations and then white noise. And I use a Schumann device that actually gets the frequency of the earth to ground your body all night long. So I use that. And then in the morning, I hit an alarm, the snooze button intentionally for 10 minutes. And before I open my eyes, that's when I go into my gratitude practice. So my mind is already in a theta state. I want to teach my brain to look for positive things all day long. So I will spend 10 minutes with my eyes still closed, with my ears on and my eye mask, and I will just think about things that I am grateful for.
Nice, thank you. So within the subscription to Mind Valley, you choose those couple things that you
Those are actually not part of Mind Valley. I will do Mind Valley courses like when I'm driving in the car or if I'm on a plane, I'll do Mind Valley. But the rest of the time, honestly, you don't need to learn from other people. You need to learn from yourself. So if there's one thing and one tech stack tool I'll give you is the Headspace app. They have a beginner meditation course, and I would guarantee 90% of you on this call are like, I can't meditate. My brain's too noisy. I'm not good at it. I'm not a meditator. Yeah, this is for you. So if my 5-year-old daughter can meditate, she's been doing it for 3 years now. So every morning, all 3 of my kids and I have 11 minutes of meditation, and I started them using the Headspace app. It's 11 minutes, and it's 10-day increments. So every single day, the navigation starts to decline until by the 10th cohort, if you will. So there's 10-day sections, and at the end of the 10th one, then there's actually no more narrator. There's just like an opening and intention, and then 9 minutes of silence and a minute of wrap up. So it will teach your brain how to meditate. And I found that incredibly useful. So if there's anything you do, Headspace meditation, get into alignment with yourself and start asking yourself those questions. Then you're going to find which tools resonate with you. And I'm happy to share all of these with you, but I really, really would like to see you master meditation first so you can listen to your own voice before you listen to someone else's.
Thank you so much, Kristen.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Who has got a question? You just have to speak up because I can't see. What did you do to get into a theta state the first time you tried? I actually did EMDR therapy for my capital T trauma, and that really set me on a path once I understood what my real issue was, and it wasn't the one that I thought it was. I was very surprised at the end of my EMDR to find out that it wasn't the actual capital T trauma that was my problem. It was the fact that I wasn't protected from it. And so my lone survivor core wound of unworthiness is that I'm unworthy of protection. And that's why I fall into that category. I think a lot of people do. And so that was the first time I experienced theta. Then I mastered meditation using the Headspace app. Then I did psilocybin. Then I did breath work. And I've become a breathwork facilitator because I love that I don't have to be on a substance, and I've always got it with me. I can do it every morning. I can do it once a week. I can do it and then get in a car and drive. And so that breath work experience, or at least the type of breath work that I do and that I facilitate, allows for that very similar kind of out of body experience. True clarity comes because your subconscious has come forward and that critical faculty has turned off. And that's where you can really hear your own voice and your own intuition. And it is a magical experience. So I hope you'll all experience it with me. Trying to get to the rest of your questions. If you have one, shout it out while I'm looking for the next one. The link went to my link tree. Yes. And then there's multiple links there to contact me. I'll get all of them. I will share the GPT link. Thank you for all the kind words. I love it. Thank you guys. The recording. Yes, this recording, Ella will make it available in the Fast Forward group. And if you didn't get the QR code, that's okay. Just email me at kristin@kfteams.com. I've also put that in the chat. That's KRISTIN@kfteams.com. And we only have 1 more minute left. Oh, Uncommon. Yes. Uncommon is a community of seekers celebrating and leveraging authenticity for holistic wellness and business mastery. So if you're interested in more of this, please do come join our Uncommon community and bring your own gifts. They're all treasure. They're all welcome. We want to celebrate everyone's superpowers and also be very aware of the shadow work as we learn to ditch it together. Oh, you guys, your kind words. I love it. I need to hear it too. Where would you like us to contact you? I think I got that. All right. If there are no other questions, I'll leave it open for a few minutes so that you guys can go through the chat. But I will release you to go about your merry way and being awesome. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for giving me your time and trusting me with it. I do appreciate it.
Kristen, I have a question.
Sure.
You look bored. I'll ask you a question. So.
I'm reading the comments. Go ahead.
No, when did you get into the holistic and the meditation, all that stuff yourself?
9 years ago. So I really dug into soothing my nervous system when the mutiny happened. And it was just so painful of a period of my life. It was a month after the COVID shutdown in 2020. So there was a lot of things going on. And my whole world was falling apart. And I just felt like I couldn't take it anymore. And so I surrendered to that feeling. And I am not one to stay down. So I just threw myself into figuring out what was happening. And I knew it was my brain. And so I started reading books. And the book that really started me on the scientific portion of it before I got into the quantum physics is called The Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton. And that is where I started to understand the energy of science. And it wasn't woo-woo to me anymore. Once I understood that the scientific movement and how and what energy is and how to work with it, then it wasn't, manifesting BS anymore. It was, so my thoughts really do create my reality. And whatever is up in here really is showing up in front of me. And once I figured that out, I was like, well, the gloves are off. What else can I do? So I went into a journey of healing. And then once I healed all of that, and I had a lot of physical stuff to heal too. Once I did that, I was able to be proactive with my health and with my manifestation. I said, okay, well, now I've gotten over all of the problems. Now, what do I want to be proactive about? What do I want to see? What do I want to create?
What was the next one after the biology of belief? Did you
I
take any classes or courses or?
Oh, yeah. I've been collecting certifications. And again, I never intended to share this with anyone. I just thought this was all for me. But I did NLP. I did the Silva method, which is almost like a psychic course, but it's again using energy and the energy of thought. I became a breathwork facilitator.
I did the Silva method maybe 30 years ago, but then it went away and I haven't been able to find it again. It's very powerful.
They do have, I did it in person. I went to New Jersey to do it. And also Mind Valley, the creator of Mind Valley actually originated as a Silva method instructor. And then he created like an overlay on the Silva method. So you can get it through the Mind Valley course also. Yes. That's what Mind Valley was predicated on. And that's a great one for meditation and for really understanding yourself and how to work within your body too.
Is it similar to Silva method?
It's almost identical. It just has another addition that he put on there because it was trademarked.
Nice. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, but he was one of the original coaches. People keep saying to turn up my volume. You guys can hear me okay, right? And then the books after that, so The Biology of Belief, Proof of Heaven is another one. And for those of you who may struggle on the spiritual end between religion and like the universe or New Age stuff, that one really set me on the path. That was the very first book that expanded my mindset. I was raised as a cradle Catholic, and so I had a hard time understanding a lot of other ideas. And I read that book, and it was absolutely astounding. So Proof of Heaven, and then The Biology of Belief. And then there's a whole list of recommended reading I have, and I'm happy to share that with you too if you want to reach out. Okay, I've got to run.
I did email you.
Okay, great. Yeah, I look forward to connecting with anybody who wants to connect. And thank you again for all of your kind words. I'm going to leave this up for a few minutes. And Ella, thank you so much.
Thank you.